A look at Ottawa this morning, where for the first time ever, the Prime Minister has invoked the Emergencies Act. It is Tuesday, February 15th. We are Canada's Morning Show. And with that shot there, you can still see protesters on Parliament Hill.
You bet. Good morning, everybody. And Ottawa is where we begin this morning with this unprecedented move by the federal government in response to those ongoing protests. Let's bring in Global's Abigail Beeman, who joins us from the nation's capital this morning. Abigail, good morning. And first off, what powers does the Emergencies Act give the federal government?
Good morning. So there are a few things on the table. The Prime Minister saying yesterday that law enforcement was having significant challenges in the ability to carry out its job. And as such, part of what's on the table for the Emergencies Act is more tools for law enforcement. Specifically, RCMP will be able to enforce municipal or provincial rules. Of course, we have, three different layers of police on the scene here in terms of Ottawa Police, Ontario Provincial Police, and RCMP, as well as other local detachments that are helping out. So more powers for the RCMP on scene. Another element that's very specific but relevant here is that the federal government can direct services. So specifically, we're looking at the federal government being able to direct tow truck companies to tow some of the vehicles here, something that has been a big challenge for the city of Ottawa, getting tow truck companies who are willing to come down here and move some of these vehicles. So we will see how that rolls out. And then a very important element is the financial implications here, talking about freezing bank accounts of anybody who's involved in the protest, as well as the layer looking at crowdfunding platforms, making them register with FinTrack and a number of other things in that realm. The Finance Minister, Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland, saying yesterday that this is about following the money.
So will this actually work to end things? And does the PM have the buy-in he needs? I know a couple of provinces have said this isn't necessary.
That's right. So that's the big question. Will this end things? How will things end? When will things end? A lot of people looking at that finance element as saying that could be the real thing that makes a difference here. I've been out speaking to protesters every day that I've been down here, including yesterday, all day. Everybody I spoke to, it doesn't matter what you throw at them. They say that they are staying. It can be a fine. It can be arrest. Now, if it becomes clear that there could be some longer-term financial implications, and we're still waiting to understand, the real details here of what this means, because the Emergencies Act itself is very time limited and targeted. But if there are broader financial implications, it remains to be seen whether that indeed will have an impact on some of the people who are here. We know Chrystia Freeland also said that companies who have trucks here will have their insurance suspended, will be impacted as well. So that remains to be seen. But all of the protesters that I have spoken with are saying that they're staying and that there's essentially nothing that can make them leave. In terms of your question about buy-in, so waiting on a vote in the House of Commons, and the Senate needs to vote as well, and we'll see what the outcome is there. We know that the NDP appear to be on side with the Liberals here. Conservatives say they need a bit more time to look at the details, but accuse the Prime Minister of inflaming things, inflaming tensions, stigmatizing protesters rather than de-escalating the situation. So we will see how that unfolds. And you mentioned premiers as well. The Prime Minister has to consult with premiers before invoking the Emergencies Act. We heard from Doug Ford yesterday, very supportive of this move. And of course, we know Ontario launched its own state of emergency last week, but a number of other premiers have spoken out. Jason Kenney saying that this was not necessary. Scott Moe tweeting about it last night that he is not on board. There are a number of provinces pushing back, and people in general who feel that, the threshold has not been met, the very high threshold that you need to meet for the Emergencies Act to be invoked.
All right, Abigail, just finally, there was a seizure of weapons yesterday at the Coutts border in Alberta. What more can you tell us about that?
So we know that police have made 13 arrests in Coutts, that there was more than a dozen weapons and a lot of ammunition that was seized on scene. A lot of concerns, obviously, about the very clear danger that could have posed in Coutts. Waiting to see exactly what the situation is on the ground, but it sounds like it is scaling down the size of the protest there this morning, that some trucks are continuing to leave, but waiting to get an update as to how that's actually unfolding on the ground.
All right, Abigail Beeman in Ottawa with the very latest. Thank you.